Okay, so I recently read Outlive by Attia, and in that he talks about Zone 2 cardio. Now, I never really did Zone 2 cardio for a really long time. The only other time that I did it was when I was running my marathon earlier this year, but since then, I honestly haven't ran or done any cardio really at all. And I, at the minute, am super ill, so I'm hoping that it'll be able to get me out of the trenches a bit, and I'm also hoping that I'll be able to... And I'm also hoping that I'll be able to start this up as a more consistent habit. Jesus Christ. So with that being said, I started with cycling. So my thought process behind me doing cycling is just because it's low impact. While I understand that actually my knees and my joints are actually fine, doing too much cardio and having too much cardio that's actually high impact, it can start to wear down on your joints, especially your knees. What I will say about when I did the cycling was, to be quite honest, it's a little bit of an issue for me to actually stay in zone 2 because I feel like I'm not doing enough. So like, for example, towards the end, you can kind of see I start sweating and I'm really panting, and it's because I've kind of exceeded zone 2. And while this might sound like I'm like flexing how much of a hard worker that I am, ultimately I'm doing it wrong, really. So that's something that I've got to work towards in the future, hopefully for more installments of this video series. I'm not going to make too many of these, but I'm going to make enough. The second exercise that I do is just incline walking on the treadmill. Now, incline walking in particular, again, is another lower impact cardio exercise. It's also really good for the calves and just the overall legs. It's also something that, if we're talking about longevity exercises, it's a movement that as we get older, people can typically have more and more problems with. So as it gets to 10 minutes on the treadmill, walking on the incline, I actually decided to do a almost backwards incline walk. So as you can see, that's when the treadmill is still at an incline, but instead of facing forward, you face away from the machine. Now this might look a little bit silly, but I'm doing it because it's really good for strengthening the joints around your knees. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, this is inspired by Outlive by Attia, and he often talks about knees and joints and the like. And I would assume that apart from back problems, knee problems is the other huge joint issue that people often have when they get older. And I as well actually often have clicky knees, although I do it manually because for whatever reason I find it quite satisfying. I'm just doing it just to make sure that everything's okay. So you'll notice that I actually do this for a lot less time. I do this for 5 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes. And then afterwards, what I was supposed to do was I was supposed to go over to the Stairmaster, but there was someone on there, and I wasn't going to stop doing the Zone 2 cardio to just wait around and see when he'd be finished. So instead, I just turned around on the machine, put the incline down so it was kind of flat. I think it was maybe at 1, and then just went for a jog. As opposed to the other ones, the jog is quite high impact, especially considering that I weigh, I think, 80 kilograms at this point. But it definitely worked out quite well. And as well, what I would say is, from my perspective, it feels as though my tolerance for cardio, not only physically, but also mentally, has increased because I've achieved so much in that lane. Like, for example, when it got to the last, I think it was 3 minutes of the jog, I was really dreading that last 3 minutes. I can't quite explain what the feeling is, but it's almost as though I want to just stop because I'm almost there. So that last 3 minutes becomes so much harder. But I definitely want to mention kind of building that mental portfolio for yourself, making sure you're always challenging yourself, whether in physical or mental capacities. Because when I was 3 minutes left, I was thinking to myself, bro, this is 3 minutes, and I ran a marathon earlier this year, so I'm able to kind of call back on the ability that I at least used to have, and I feel like I could call back on if I really needed to. I feel like doing cardio, especially for a long time, if you haven't tried it yet, it can be really beneficial for mental health as well, because it's almost like a mental challenge. It's a physical challenge, don't get me wrong, but to continue and to choose to continue is a mental challenge. And with that, it's the end of the Zone 2 cardio video. It's only a very casual video today, but I thought I'd make it my first time in the gym with a camera. To be honest, I was quite nervous about setting it up, but once I kind of set it up, I realised no one really cared at all. I also tried to make sure that I was putting the camera up in places where people weren't too visible, or it wasn't just in the middle of the floor or something like that. In terms of, has it helped my sickness? Maybe. I don't know yet. I'll have to get back to you tomorrow. But I'm recording this on the same day as I did the Zone 2 cardio. It was early this morning. So I am actually really tired, but I'm glad I did it. And I'm going to continue doing it as well, just because I think it's always good to increase your cardiovascular health. Cardiovascular health is very underrated, I think, in bodybuilding and overall gym culture, especially amongst people my age, especially among people of my age. And with that, Ill John is out. Thank you. Like and subscribe if you'd like. Again, a bit of a casual one today, but oh, god damn. Like and sub if you want. Whatever I had. Quite proud of myself that I was able to do that though, actually, to be honest. Probably can't hear what I'm saying. Probably can't hear a word I'm saying, but it's okay, we're here.